Champion of what?
A champion of what?
I can drop a world lead, I don't even like running. You gotta run fast just to go and get some money. I'm Noah Lyles K, you know how I'm coming. I ain't going to no Olympics, I ain't running, I ain't jumping. I can make 100,000 at the crib being funny.
I want to talk about this because I hear people talk about this all the time and they're just so unknowledgeable about it. People always say things like, we need track to get the attention that it used to get back in the day, and it was way bigger back in the day, and they used to make way more money back in the day. And track needs to make the same amount of money as football and basketball and blah, blah, blah. When none of that shit be true. Now, track and field was bigger back in the day because those people back in the day fought for it to be bigger. The athletes nowadays don't stand for anything. And that's the reason they're falling for anything. This is Carl Lewis and Tupac, who was probably the biggest rapper at the time back then. Who's the biggest rapper? I mean, who's the biggest runner in track right now? Who would y'all say? Noah Lyles? Noah Lyles couldn't even stand next to a Big X the Plug, let alone one of the biggest rappers like a Kendrick Lamar or Drake or something, and fit in with them and have the same amount of star power with them in the same rooms with them. When did y'all know this? In 1984, Carl Lewis, he got drafted to the Chicago Bulls and the Dallas Cowboys just because of his speed. He didn't even play either sport. He didn't play football and he didn't play basketball. He went in the 10th round of the NBA draft and the 12th round of the NFL draft. And when he got drafted to the Chicago Bulls, this was the same team that Michael Jordan was on. Carl Lewis literally had the same opportunity, or had the opportunity to play with Michael Jordan, but he turned it down. You know why? Because the average NBA salary back then was $240,000 a year. The average NFL salary was $162,000 a year, which was great money back then. But Carl was making $1 million plus back then. He was getting paid more than the NBA players and the NFL players. So a lot of people nowadays be like, oh, track don't get paid that much. We only say that because the sports that were paying less than track back then are paying way more than track now. It's not that track has decreased. It's that every other sport has increased by a lot. The track runners now, they're making more than Carl Lewis was making back then. Noah Lyles is making more than Carl Lewis was making when he was running. Fred Curley is making more than Carl Lewis was making when he was running. But the thing is, Carl was making more than the NFL players, so he was a real star. These guys making $1 million, $3 million a month, that ain't shit compared to an NFL player that's making 15, 20 million a month. So that's why they seem so much smaller nowadays. All of those other sports done invested billions into marketing over the years. Track has stayed in the same spot thinking the same thing is going to work. So it looks like it got smaller, but it really just stayed the same while everybody else decided to elevate.